careful what you pray for. You've heard that your whole life, usually as a joke. I want to tell you a true story that will make you never say it lightly again.
Many people know I've got 3 months before I booked the role of the show, I went through a deeper spiritual conversion. And a few months before that, I had made some other decisions about living my life differently.
There's a man whose job, his actual, literal job, is to play Jesus. And before he filmed the hardest scenes of his life, the arrest, the beating, the cross, he did something most of us would never dare to do.
Because I knew how difficult it had the potential to be, or how it was going to be. I knew it was going to be difficult. I was actually nervous about it. I literally asked him to allow me to participate in it.
He got specific with God. He didn't pray, "Lord, be with me." He prayed, and I'm going to let you hear him say it in a minute, that God would let him feel a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what Christ actually went through.
I said, Lord, if there's any way that I could experience a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what you went through throughout this entire experience.
And he named it: the arrest, the whipping, the nails. And then, day one of filming, day one, he fell and tore the joint in his right shoulder, the exact shoulder he was about to carry the cross on.
And I went and got it checked out, and it's my right shoulder. I got an MRI, and it turns out I had separated my AC joint from my clavicle, or something that happens in there. It separated.
He stood there in that pain and thought, okay, you got my message. His name is Jonathan Roumie, and this is what happened when a man prayed a dangerous prayer, and heaven answered it to the letter. Let's walk through it. First, you have to understand who this man is, because it matters. For years, Jonathan Roumie was a struggling actor. Small parts, real financial fear. The kind of Hollywood story that usually ends with someone quietly giving up. And then, by his own telling, about 3 months before he booked the role that would change everything, he went through a deep spiritual conversion. He surrendered. He started living differently.
Many people know I've got 3 months before I booked the role of the show, I went through a deeper spiritual conversion. And a few months before that, I had made some other decisions about living my life differently.
And then, the role of Jesus came to him. Sit with the order of that for a second. He didn't find God because he got cast as Jesus. He gave his life to God first, and the role followed. That's not a small detail. That's the whole foundation of this story.
Before we started season 6, and I do this every season, but this had a particular intentionality to it.
So by the time season 6 came around, the season that covers the passion, the arrest, and the trial, and the crucifixion, this was a man who took prayer seriously. He admits he was nervous. He knew it was going to be the hardest thing he had ever done. And so, before a single frame was shot, he brought God a very deliberate request.
Because I knew how difficult it had the potential to be, or how it was going to be. I knew it was going to be difficult. I was actually nervous about it. I literally asked him to allow me to participate in it.
There's a verse, Philippians 3, verse 10, where Paul names the deep cry of his heart, that I may know him and the fellowship of his sufferings. The fellowship of his sufferings. Most of us read straight past those words. Roumie prayed them. So what exactly did he ask for? This is where it stops being ordinary. He asked God if there was any way to let him experience a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what Jesus endured. And then he did something I have almost never heard in a prayer. He listed it.
I said, Lord, if there's any way that I could experience a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what you went through throughout this entire experience.
Out loud, in order. The arrest, the imprisonment, the sentencing, the beating, the scourging, the crucifixion. 6 stations of the worst night in human history, named one by one, like a man reading down a list and asking for every item on it.
From the arrest, to the imprisonment, to the sentencing, to the beating, to the scourging, to the crucifixion.
That is not, Lord, help me get through this week. That is a specific, structured, eyes-open request to walk straight into suffering on purpose. And at the end of it, he says 4 words that should give you chills once you know what's coming. He did not disappoint.
Please allow me to participate somehow so that I can authentically bring this experience to the world. And he did not disappoint.
I want you to feel the sheer courage of that prayer. Because most of us keep our prayers vague on purpose. We ask for a little help, a good day, some peace, small enough that we'll never notice if nothing happens. Roumie asked for something God could unmistakably answer. And that is exactly what God did. Day 1. He's filming a completely different scene, nothing to do with the cross. He's running across sand in these heavy sandals, and he trips, falls headlong, tries to roll through it, pops back up with a flourish.
I had tripped at one point in the scene where I was running on sand with these big sandals that we wear, and I fell headlong, and I tried to roll into it so that it would cushion the fall, and I jumped up and I landed with a flourish, and I was like, ta-da!
And the whole crew cheers. And then the pain hits, a tight band of it.
And everybody was like, yay! And I was like, yeah! And then all of a sudden I felt this tight swath of pain just cover my shoulder into my chest, and I thought,
spreading from his shoulder into his chest. He gets it looked at, an MRI. And the diagnosis? He'd separated his AC joint, the joint that ties the shoulder to the collarbone, his right shoulder.
and I went and got it checked out, and it was my right shoulder. I got an MRI, and it turns out I had separated my AC joint from my clavicle, or something that happens in there. It just it separated.
The doctor tells him this is going to hurt for months. Months.
And the doctor's like, this is going to hurt for a few months.
And then it lands on him. He realizes something. And he says he actually spoke to God right there on the spot. He thought, that's the shoulder. That's the shoulder I'm going to be carrying the cross on. Okay, he said, you got my message.
And I thought about it, I'm like, oh, that's the shoulder I'm going to be carrying the cross on. Okay, you got my message, all right. Thank you, I think.
Now, I want to be careful and fair here. I can't stand here and tell you the exact mechanics of how God works, and Roumie isn't claiming to either. What he's telling you is how he received it. He asked to share in the suffering of the cross, in specific terms, and on day one, before he had carried anything at all, his cross-carrying shoulder was marked. Jesus said in Matthew 16, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross." Roumie prayed to take up that cross for real. And the answer came stamped onto the exact part of his body that would bear the weight of it. If a story like this, a real man, a real prayer, a real answer, is the kind of thing you come here for, take 1 second and hit that subscribe button. It's the single biggest way you help this channel keep going. Okay, because I told you it gets worse, and he told all of us he wouldn't change a thing. Here's the part that turns a good story into something holy. He didn't get to heal first. That separated shoulder, he carried it. He literally carried the cross on it through the entire filming of the Passion. Every take, every fall, aware of the pain the whole time.
And when I started carrying it, it was like, oh, I was aware of it the whole time. And it lasted throughout filming.
And it wasn't the only injury. In another scene, a stunt went wrong and his head was slammed against a board, hard enough that he figured it should have given him a concussion. It didn't, but he dealt with issues in his neck for months afterward.
There was another scene that I can't quite get into detail here, where there was a stunt, and my head ended up getting smashed against this board.
He has said, without a flicker of hesitation, that this was the hardest thing he has ever done in his life.
And I was fine in the moment. I was like, that should have given me a concussion, but it didn't. But I ended up having cervical issues for a few months after that I'm still sort of working out.
And here's the line that haunts me. He said the weight of it kept affecting him for months after the cameras stopped rolling.
This was the hardest thing that I ever did in my life. And it continues to affect me in ways that I did not anticipate. I did not anticipate feeling the weight and the pain of this months later.
Yeah. He didn't just film the Passion. He carried it home. That is what he asked for, a fraction of the suffering. And when it came, shoulder, neck, months of it, he did not pray it away. So why? Why would any sane man not beg God to take it all back? Listen to he answers that, because this is the heart of the whole thing. He says the thing he prayed for, God gave him, and he wouldn't have it any other way.
The thing that I prayed for and the thing that I asked for, he gave me. He allowed me to participate in, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Because now, he says, it's real. He doesn't have to act the pain. He can act less and just be.
Then it's real. Then I don't have to. I can act less and just be more.
And then he does something with the suffering that most of us would never think to do. He offers it up. Lord, he prays, if you can use this for souls, for the people I know who are hurting, then I offer this pain.
And offer all of the pain, all of the sufferings. What we do, we bring it to the altar of sacrifice and say, Lord, if you can use this for souls, for the benefit of the souls, for benefit of my own soul, for people that I know that are suffering, I offer this pain, I offer this suffering.
He turned his injury into a gift. He describes the whole experience as the moment you stop pretending and start participating.
Where you are no longer pretending, you are participating in his passion.
You're not performing the passion anymore. You're inside it.
And you have to reconcile that within yourself, either as a character playing Jesus, as an actor playing Jesus, as a Roman soldier, as one of the women crying, as the disciple John standing at the foot of the cross.
And what he says he found there, in the middle of all that pain, is the thing I most want you to hear. He said God's mercy is not distant, not locked away in the past, not some vague promise for later.
And what struck me the most is that his mercy is not distant or inaccessible. It is not confined to the past or some nebulous promise in the future.
It's present, it's real, and it meets you exactly where you feel the most unworthy to be met.
It is present. It is real. And it is being offered to each one of us right now.
A man went looking for a fraction of the cross, and what he found waiting for him there was mercy.
In our weakness, in our sin, in the places where we feel the most unworthy, that is where his divine mercy meets us.
So let me bring this all the way home to you, because this was never really a story about an actor. When was the last time you prayed a prayer that God could actually answer? Not the safe ones. Not bless this food and watch over us as we travel. I mean a real one. Lord, let me know you. Lord, make me more like you, whatever it costs. Roumie prayed a version of that, and God took him seriously enough to answer in his own body. Here's the thing about the fellowship of his sufferings. You don't have to fly to Italy and carry a wooden cross to find it. Your cross might be a diagnosis, a marriage that's coming apart, a grief that won't lift. And the whole invitation in this story is that Christ is not distant from that place. He is in it, with you. His mercy meets you right where you feel the most unworthy to be met. Roumie said one more thing I can't get out of my head. Talking about the people who walk away when following Jesus gets hard, he said, "Don't abandon Jesus in his hour of need just because it's hard for you. Don't abandon him because it's hard."
Well, to them I say, don't abandon Jesus in his hour of need just because it's hard for you.
He carried a real cross on a torn shoulder so that he wouldn't. What's your excuse? What's mine? Father, we so often pray small because deep down we're afraid you'll actually answer. Give us the courage to pray, "Let me know you," and the faith to stay when the answer costs us something. Meet us in our weakness, right where we feel the most unworthy. Your mercy is not distant. Amen. If this one hit you, tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Give it a like so it finds the person who needs it today. And if you're not subscribed yet, come take the next walk with me. I'll see you there.